That is a huge difference. Looking at my stream and it's like 15 seconds behind. Insane in the brain. Six titles with over 20 million units sold means the state of Nintendo is winning at the cost of our soul. Says Terminator Juice. Alright, I'll try to give people more time. I don't usually do a stream this time of day, but figured why not? Why not? See if we can get a couple more folks in here before I get started. Oh, don't want to sing that. I'm gonna shut my stream down. Clocky, what is this? Is this? Oh, there it is. Looks like there was a difference there. Can this be? Am I catching a Mr. T stream live? Yes, you are, Clocky. Yes, you are. And I didn't plan it at this time of day for you, but I was like, Clocky's gonna benefit from me streaming early. And maybe I'll do this regularly, like on Sunday afternoons or something. It's not a bad idea. I don't have to compete. Alright, so I can... T is always late. Late? I'm right on time. 3:35 is when I said I was going to go. How am I late? $3:35 is when my stream was started. If anything, I at least started the countdown early, because usually the countdown for me is when my stream starts. So, boo you, Terminator Juice. Boo you. Sengoku, like this is behind. This is strange. Sengoku Musha Card and Games will get my Switch next month for the first time. That's amazing, because if you're just getting a Switch for the first time, there's a ton. I wouldn't even know what to do with myself starting at this time to catch up on like Nintendo games and stuff on Switch. So you got a lot of work to do. Sengoku. A couple of minutes and we'll get started. And wet my willy. I'm gonna look at this stream because it's faster, or at least the chat log. Yes, for the first time, says Sengoku. Yeah, I'll look at this one and get rid of this. Thought this would be faster, but not really. Watching you on the 92-inch screen in the theater room. Nice. You can see all my imperfections. Juice. All right, 1 minute. 1 minute, and we'll go. And we'll go. And we'll go. Late. You're huge on this screen. Am I still huge? Wait a minute. That don't sound right. Pause, Juice. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. So, first of all, hey, foos. Big T back in the house. It's been a while. If you caught my last video, you'll understand why. But honestly, during my sleep, in my grave, I've had a couple people coming in pissing on my grave, which is making me want to come back and do more videos to hurt their butts. There's a couple people really butthurt about my take on Nintendo, especially. And so when I was trying to sleep, I was trying to be a sleeping giant, if you will. You guys are motivating me to come back and make more videos. So there's that. So if you can't handle it, if it hurts you, don't say these things about my Tinder. If you can't handle it, maybe just be quiet. But I'm coming back, and these guys. One in particular, I won't say this person's name, but one in particular needs me because they just feed off of like arguing with me, so they need me to come back anyway. So there's that. But yeah, so first of all, I want to take my victory lap because it's pretty inevitable at this point that Switch will outsell the Wii. And I was probably, at least to my knowledge, one of the earliest people in this community saying that. I said that pretty much after 6 months, I think, of the... I have to go back and check my videos. Of the Switch being out. Now, I knew it was going to be a success right away. And I've documented that in videos. That it was going to be a success because it's a handheld. It's a portable console. You can take it anywhere with Nintendo games on it. Of course, it's going to be successful. It's going to be more successful than the Wii U. People are worried, because when Nintendo makes a quote unquote failure, they follow it up with another failure, which has never happened. But there was so much direness after the Wii U because it didn't sell well. Not to mention its quality of exclusive and quality of the console or whatever. But people were like, not thinking that the Wii U or the Switch was going to do well because of that. Terminator Juice. I can handle your opinion on Nintendo because you are a true fan and own the Switch. I can't stand hearing someone talk about company or console that they don't own and support. Who are you talking about, Juice? But yeah, so I'm going to take my victory lap and say that the Switch will outsell the Wii. I said that 3.5 years ago or so, roughly, a little bit more maybe, that it would do it. And it's doing it. And it's irregardless of how I feel about it currently. I knew it was going to outsell the Wii. And it's going to probably this year. So there's that. So I just want to pat myself on the back for that. When a lot of these, again, milquetoast Nintendo YouTubers, like I've told you about before, these milquetoast bran flakes YouTubers who were never really excited about the Switch, and I'll talk about that a little bit too. But because it's so successful, they had to jump on board and pretend that they're excited about it. And I'm saying that because I know these people aren't excited because of the fact that they're always worried about the next. They're always, the Pro, the Switch Pro, the Switch Plus. They're always concerned about it because they were never satisfied with the Switch itself. So there's that. And we'll get into that too. But so yeah, patting myself on the back. Switch will outsell it. 85 million currently, which is outstanding, obviously, and also depressing because we're going to talk about the state of Nintendo for me as a fan, a long-time fan. Let's see. If the Switch outsells the Wii, it would be a good thing, says Shadowboxing. Yes and no. It depends. Falcon Black. Well, I'm back, man. I told you it would be soon. Salute Juice. All right. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so it's great and it's also depressing because the belief that sales equal getting more of what you want, getting more, hasn't completely come to fruition. Now, sales equals getting more games on Switch. That is obviously a true thing. Obviously, the Wii U didn't sell well, and therefore the games did not come. Companies saw writing on the wall pretty early. Within the first 6 months or so, that the system just was not moving. So they pulled back on some games. Ubisoft famously pulled back on Rayman Legends. So that stuff was happening. But because the Switch immediately sold well and sold really well, exponentially within the next few years of its launch, the games kept coming, and a lot of games that were pretty much going to Vita, a lot of those games came over to Switch, which that is a very cool thing. And I also like the fact that old school PC games are popping up on Switch because I'm a console guy. I love playing PC games back in the day, but if I can, I'd rather play the games on console. So a lot of those old PC games I used to play are coming to Switch, which are cool. I'll talk about that in a minute as well. But for me, it was all about Nintendo games. Every Nintendo console for me is always about Nintendo games. So, see, I'm trying to keep up with the chat this time because I always fall super behind. So, you guys are talking to each other there anyway. Sengoku, I don't care about sales numbers per se, as I owned a PS Vita that got abandoned by Sony themselves. Yeah, I'm the same. I don't like. The thing is, though, sales was supposed to mean more, right? And unfortunately, on the Switch, sales haven't equated to more. Outside of more obscure titles, more late third-party ports, lesser third-party ports, which was a horrible thing. Remember, it was a horrible thing on the Wii U that the ports were lesser and I don't want to say quality, but lesser in performance, how they perform, frame rate and stuff. And they were also late. So that was a huge problem on Wii U, but not so much on Switch. People have no problem buying lesser late ports on Switch when they decried it on Wii U, which is, it is what it is. I find it kind of funny, but, and by funny I mean hypocritical, but here we are. But that's my problem. My problem is I'm a Nintendo fan. I buy Nintendo consoles mainly for Nintendo games. And I was hoping with the success of the Switch, with the overwhelming success of the Switch, that means we would go back and get franchises that we hadn't really gotten in a long time. Now, that happened on the Wii. We got rail shooters. We got genres that hadn't been around in a while, like what do you call them? Rail shooters. We hadn't had rail shooters in a while until the Wii, and so you got House of the Deads and all kinds of stuff like that coming to the Wii, which probably wouldn't have happened if it didn't sell well. Like no other console was putting out really. There was a couple here and there on I want to say PS3. And that was because of this, but that was because of the success of the Wii, because PS3 decided, we're going to copy the Wii remote by putting out the Move controller. And so the Move controller also led to a slight emphasis on that genre coming back on the PS3 as well. So the success of the Wii brought back old franchises. So we got, that, I had a video about it. I'm trying to, we even got Knights. We got a new Knights. It wasn't great. But when it was great, it was great. When it played like old school Knights, it was great. It was just the other stuff around the game that took away from it. But we got returns to genres that we hadn't had before. Like I said, we had rail shooters. We had shoot 'em ups. We had there's one in the recesses. We got Donkey Kong. We got a side-scrolling Donkey Kong on the Wii. Come back for the first time since the country games on, I guess you can count Jungle Beat, but not really. It was kind of a different kind of thing. But, at that time, Metroid was in full swing. We got Prime Trilogy, or Prime 3. We got Prime Trilogy. We even got Other M. So, and that was fairly on the first couple years of the Wii. So that is my biggest gripe, is that we have this super successful console, a console that's going to do better than the Wii, but is not putting out the same stuff. It's not putting out the more that I was expecting. Now we didn't get a Star Fox on Wii, which was crazy to me and surprising because Miyamoto was like, I don't know what to do with Star Fox on Wii, when all you got to do is really look at Sin and Punishment, Star Successor, and you know exactly what Star Fox on Wii should have been. But you know, Miyamoto, Nintendo's kind of weird sometimes. They do that kind of stuff. But again, I'm gonna catch up with the chat here. Oh, Rob's up in here. What's up, Rob? Thanks for joining. Listening while I play Super Metroid on my Wii U. Nice, nice, nice. Hey, what's up, Falcon? Oh, he's talking to Falcon there. Remember PS2 iToy? Yeah, PS2 iToy. Yeah, I do remember that. I didn't have it, so I kind of forgot. Did it have shooters on there as well because of the iToy? I don't remember. I mean, I know it had like quirky little games, Sengoku, but I don't remember if it had shooters, specifically like rail shooters. Wow, this chat is popping big time. I can't keep up. That is rare. That is pretty cool. Thank you all for joining here. Let's see. Good to see you this fine Sunday. My favorite gaming YouTubers in the chat, says Falcon. Thank you, my man. Sin and Punishment and Donkey Kong Country return on the Wii. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about there. Talking about the Wii. Yeah, I am. Let's see. We got 2 interesting exclusive Sonic games on Wii. Says Shadowboxing. You like Black Knight better? Ooh, I liked Sonic Colors. I thought it was awesome. So we got a really good Sonic 3D game, which we hadn't had in a while. You know, I can go on and on, but I have to look at my collection actually to go on and on. I've talked about this in other videos. So that is my main problem with the success of Switch, is that we're not getting, and we're still waiting for Metroid. Can you believe it? We're on year 4.5. Well, not 4.5. That's not true. We're in year 4.25-ish, and we still don't have a Metroid game. We all know what happened, but should that have happened? Should that have been something that happened with a company like Nintendo? I don't think so. I think if they had put more care into that game, that wouldn't have happened. I don't think Nintendo would have let that happen to a franchise. You think they would let that happen to a Zelda game or a Mario game? I mean, they rarely ever put those games out in other companies to make. Zelda was given to Capcom at one point. Those games were great. Hell, F-Zero was given to Sega, and that game was probably the best in the series. So for them to botch whoever they gave Metroid to, and a lot of people speculated that it was Bandai Namco, for them to let that happen and waste 2 years is, you know, to me, it's indicative of current Nintendo. I feel like 2017 was still Iwata influenced Nintendo. And after that is when that influence went away. The sales were really picking up big time, and I feel like the focus for Nintendo changed to some degree. I mean, it's 2021, and we still don't have a non-laughable solution for online gaming and online feature sets. That is crazy. Now, Nintendo is not above being crazy about that, because I remember them famously saying that gamers don't care about online gaming during the GameCube, and they were completely wrong. And I think they hurt themselves big time. I know they hurt themselves big time, because if Smash was online for GameCube, GameCubes would have sold twice as much. If Metroid, especially Prime 2 with its multiplayer, if that was online, GameCube would have sold, way better than it did. So Nintendo's not above being crazy, even when they are the Nintendo that I love. It just feels like they're lately are more the Nintendo that I don't love as much, because I don't feel like the focus is there. And obviously we've lost some key players. We lost Iwata, like I said, Reggie to retirement. Miyamoto is way in the background now and will probably be retiring within the next few years. So those are big keys to my fandom. Have been since the beginning. Um, but they have people that make me feel Nintendo again, like Koizumi and oh my gosh, what's his name? I'm gonna screw up his name, so I'm not even gonna say it. There's a couple guys, Koizumi, and maybe you guys can help me in the chat. He's done the directs as well, and they have that Nintendo feel to me, and so I would like to see more of them. But that's just part of it. Games is another part of it. I thought the Switch was going to bring on, with its success, was going to bring on or bring back franchises that have been neglected forever, because you can gamble when you're 85 million strong with franchises that didn't do great. With Chibi Robos and smaller franchises. Kid Icarus is. I don't think that's even a smaller franchise. I think Kid Icarus would do fantastic on Switch. Everybody wants Kid Icarus on Switch. Like everybody, every Nintendo fan I talk to wants Kid Icarus on Switch. So it's not like that would be a gamble. F-Zero, Star Fox. We're 4 years. I mean, again, I could look at it like the Wii, because we never got a Star Fox on Wii, and regardless of how successful it was. So I can't get overly upset about no Star Fox, but it's just like, it is what it is. So, and then the games that we've gotten, and I'll get to Mario Golf and whatnot, because that does look like a good game. I love Mario Golf, by the way. I've been a fan since N64. But anyway, but we've gotten, more newer titles and franchises like Kirby's and Yoshi's that were not up to par, to say the least. And you have stuff like Mario Tennis, which was, for me, and I think a lot of people, surprisingly not good. And then Mario, Paper Mario, not Paper Mario, sorry, Mario Party, Super Mario Party, up until, the update, a couple weeks ago, wasn't worth a purchase, even though 10 million people at that time had bought it without, maybe even more, had bought it without the stuff that it needs. And it still needs more boards and stuff like that. It's still lacking from what we've gotten previously. And that's the biggest thing. We've gotten more previously on lesser successful consoles. And so, crazy me, I think we have a successful console, we're going to get more, at least to par, what we've gotten on consoles that didn't do as well, like your GameCubes and even your N64s. So, crazy me. We don't have a 2D Mario 4 years in. I mean, I guess you can say Mario Maker, but that's a cop out. That's not fair. We don't have we don't have a new 2D Zelda. Sure, we got a remake, which is a fantastic remake, but we don't have a new 2D Zelda. So, or a new 2D Metroid on Switch that's over 4 years old and 85 million units sold. To me, that's a travesty. Let's see what you guys are talking here. Rob, my conspiracy theory is that without E3 reveal of Metroid Prime 4, that they might have scrapped it outright, but since the game was already revealed, they had to move on with it. I still love Nintendo, and I really enjoy the Switch, but losing Iwata and Reggie was a huge blow to the company and their personality. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Rob. I still love Nintendo. Until they completely botch their main games, not just not put them out, but until they completely botch Zelda or Mario or anything like that, I wouldn't, that my love for Nintendo wouldn't go away until I see that happening, and they just get way crazy with like the anti-consumer stuff. But they have dipped their toe into a lot of this stuff, which is surprising to me. Again, like I said, a longtime fan. Roland Star 58 says, "You sound like active gamer life." That's probably because we're longtime Nintendo fans and we want better. You can't move forward if you don't know where you came from. And you forgot where you came from. It's pretty hard to move forward. And what is moving forward in your eyes? You know, it's not like this is the first time Nintendo has had a major selling console. They've had one before, and they've still delivered. On their last major selling console, the Wii, they still delivered. Sure, it wasn't as powerful. It didn't get all the third party games because of that. But it got some really cool, unique stuff, and the Nintendo first party stuff was stellar. There was no substitute teachers on the Switch or on the Wii. There was quality first party, second party, whatever you want to call it stuff. So it is what it is. So I'm sorry, but this is what happens when you've been a Nintendo fan for multiple decades. So you know where they came from. Move forward. Like if you're talking about moving forward and the fact that they actually catch up to current gen as far as online capabilities, that's moving forward to me. Giving a real system to their fans is moving forward. Giving a non-laughable online service, that would be moving forward. So I don't know what moving forward is to you, Rohan Star, but to me, moving forward is actually moving forward and not being stuck with a system that has barely better than we online. So if you can help me out with that, I would be grateful. So Sengoku, I love my Wii U gamepad. It's great. I play on it almost every day still. Let's see, Terminator Juice isn't moving. He's saying what I'm saying. They're releasing more old games than they ever had before. How are you moving forward when you're, and I'm going to get to that too, because I don't have a problem with old games. Obviously, I'm a retro gamer, but there are better ways and more consumer-friendly ways to deliver old games. And Nintendo's not doing it. They did it on the Wii. People were super excited about the Virtual Console on the Wii, and that was amazing. And I don't know why that has to go away. Moving forward means giving you less, apparently. So, yeah. So anyway, so my excitement, if you looked at the thumbnail, that's part of the discussion here, has certainly waned. And I think a lot of these people who are cheerleading, if you really got the truth out of them, they're just cheerleading. It's not like, oh man, they're overly excited about, what's going on, what they're doing. But so my Switch buying has gone way down. At this point, I'm probably not gonna. I know I'm not gonna buy any like day and date third party games for Switch. Certainly not. Switch will be. It has been for me relegated to specific indie games, indie titles, and first party Nintendo games for the most part, because for me that's where the value lies in Switch at this point. And so I just picked up Monster Hunter Rise. Obviously, I said first party, but also third party exclusive stuff like Monster Hunter Rise, or at least temporarily for exclusive. But obviously, this game was built for the Switch, and so games like that I'm certainly into. But it's also, I've also in the past I've bought, but I probably won't in the future. Games that I missed that I wanted to get, like Dragon's Dogma. I believe this has everything in it, so maybe if there's DLC, I think that this has it all. So that was an incentive to buy this, and I got it for really cheap. And that's the thing, I'll buy like games, pretty cheap. I don't like go out and buy a lot of these later third-party games day one, because I don't see a reason to do that when I know they're going to be much cheaper later on. So you guys want You guys want to be like Sony and Microsoft in gaming? No, I want Nintendo to be the best Nintendo can be. I want Nintendo to be as good as they've been, Rohan. I don't know. You got blinders on, man. I don't know what to tell you. But like I said, I've been around a while on this Nintendo gaming scene, and they have done better, and they can do better. As far as, and it's only going to benefit you. So that's the thing I don't get. Sales don't benefit us, and at least they haven't really shown to. But new games will benefit you, and to have fans whining about other fans who want things that will benefit all fans is insane to me. So I don't know. Yeah, Dragon's Dogma is amazing. Yeah, I know. I've only barely touched it, clocked it. But I know it's a really good game, and But had I bought it today, it probably wouldn't have been the Switch version. It would have been, on Xbox One or something. But certain games I feel like they're Switch games. Like Yooka-Laylee. I would have never bought Yooka-Laylee on anything else because this to me is a Nintendo game. So it always feels like that, and I want to play it on Nintendo hardware. So you have that. Obviously the sequel as well. Possible layer. But like I was saying earlier, PC games, revisiting PC games on Switch is fantastic. So I have the Siberia series, and 4 is coming. And I'll probably pick that up on Switch as well to have them all together on one system. So there's that. Sardonic says, my wife and I have been addicted to Monster Hunter Rise. I understand it's called Monster Crack for a reason, my man. So, let's see. Shadowboxing, what's wrong with Rohan? I don't know, bro. Master Yoshi, the Super Wii U should have had a 3DS player. Yes. I mean, I made a video. It's still my most popular video is me talking about a 3DS player on the Wii U. And it's still my most popular viewed video. So obviously people wanted that. So, man, you, Rohan, you need to have a seat, man. You bugging right now. You're bugging. So games like this game, Hover, which was supposed to come out on Wii U and never did. But I understand why it didn't. And, the physical copy came out on, I think PS4 as well. But to me, this always felt like a Nintendo type of game, Sega type of game, because it's very Jet Set Radio kind of feel to it. Chaotic Fire says, you think Nintendo was going to completely snub Crash Bandicoot from Smash Ultimate? I mean, I hope not. I mean, it would be really cool. I mean, I don't really care for Activision, but I always like the character of Crash. His games are whatever, up and down. But as far as gaming history, I think he deserves to be there, along with Rayman as well. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if it would be a snub, but we'll see. And also, like the Switch for getting games, PS4 may not get. I don't know if this is on PS4 or not, but it might be. Child of Light. This is the only way to get it physically, unless there's a PS4 version or not. And the fact that I can play region games. Finally, Nintendo got rid of the region locking. And so this is cool because it's a double pack with Valiant Hearts, which I don't really know much about. So I'll have that to play as well. So I like the Switch for that kind of stuff. Let's see. I just picked up Stranger's Wrath. I haven't played this before. I always heard good things about it, but I never got around to buying it and playing it. So now I'm going to get it played on Switch. Because I don't think it benefits too much from being on other consoles. Maybe at some point on Xbox it'll be in 4K or something. I don't know. But Munch's Odyssey, which is exclusive to OG Xbox, it was. I could only play on my OG Xbox, but my OG Xbox doesn't read freaking discs anymore. So I think I'm going to mod it, and because they're really known later in life to have disc reading problems. So I don't know if I'm going to replace it or not, but I can play Munch's Odyssey again. So there's that. And also, again, titles that you won't see on physical. And there's a lot. I'm not going to buy everything out there that's physical on Switch because there's a lot of stuff. Only stuff that I want to play, stuff like Ease and Trials of Mana, which is on everything, and so it's Collection of Mana. I think it's on everything. I don't know if it's physical and everything. It might be only on PS4. But a lot of my Switch collection is super. Well, my Switch collection is a super expensive collection. Not that it was expensive when I bought this stuff, but the prices have gone up because there's a lot of rare, only only physical on Switch games. I think Oceanhorn is one of them. This game is super, super expensive now, and I wanted a physical copy. I bought this digitally, so I play that. This is sealed, and this game is like $150 game now. Maybe it's between 100 and 150 bucks. I don't care about that. I didn't buy it for that. Same thing with Grandia. I actually accidentally bought 2 copies of Grandia because I thought didn't go through my purchase. So I hit purchase again, not realizing it until they showed up. I didn't even check. So I got 2 copies of this. And I bought it to play, not to have the collection one. These games are like $200. They're going for like $200, $170 to $200 on eBay and whatnot right now. So I have 2 copies. I'll probably sell one, obviously. So that's what my Switch is relegated to at this point, and it's playing obscure indie titles, obscure games that are only physical, and again, only the games I care about playing because there's a bunch of stuff. I just got Bug Fables, the kind of spiritual successor to Paper Mario and a Thousand Year Door. I got that physically. I just got that on limited run. So I'll still be looking for titles like that I care to have physically. And I'll be looking for first party games coming to Switch that I care about. And first party or not first party exclusive, but exclusive third party games or whatever coming to Switch that are look good to me. So that's what it's at right now. And so one of my biggest problems is the porting going on Switch. It's mad. It's like Game Boy Advance levels, beyond Game Boy Advance levels of porting. If you guys had a Game Boy Advance, it was a ton of ports from the Super Nintendo especially, and then some NES as well. And it was just like crazy because they started changing names like Super Mario Advance 2 and 3, and it was just the numbering was all screwy. It was weird. But I'm super enjoying my Xbox One, my Xbox Series X, because if I want to go back, I don't have to pay to buy a new game. If I want to go back and explore old games and have them look really good, I can do that on my Series X. And so that's nostalgia is what Nintendo used to be all about. They used to capitalize on that big time, and they still do, but in poor ways. Not so good for the consumer ways. You have porting from the Wii U at $60 a pop, and that only imagine if Xbox or Sony tried to do that. If Xbox One games came out on the Xbox Series X, at $60, that would be insane. People would be screaming left and right, going crazy about it. Are you kidding me? Look what they're trying to do. They brought out the whole entire Xbox One library to the Series X, and they want $60 for every game, all the first party stuff, and it's just people would be screaming from mountain to shore about that. But Nintendo fans are cool with it, and I'm not, as a Nintendo fan, a longtime Nintendo fan. I can go back and play original Xbox games, Xbox 360 games, and Xbox One games enhanced without paying a dime right now. So that is, for a retro gamer such as myself, that is awesome. It is an awesome way to play, and it's super, super consumer friendly. And that's why one of the main reasons I'm enjoying the hell out of my Series X right now. Is one of my most fulfilling purchases in a long time. Mike is going crazy over here. Let's see. How dare Nintendo fans ask for more new games and less full price old games. Says Tornado Juice. Wait, someone actually blocked Rohan? Come on. Did somebody block him? I don't know. Was he going crazy with the uh, I don't know. It wasn't me. Maybe it was one of my what do you call it? People watching my chat. What do they call? I can't think right now. The lights in my face. Lucius Man, it's not the same since they're not actually ports on Xbox Series X, but yeah, flip Nintendo. Yeah, like I'll just go through them. I've been playing. I played it a little bit, but I'm really gonna get back into it. Conker's Live and Reloaded. Now it says demo, but I actually have the disc, the game itself. That this is the full game. It's not the demo. I had the demo at one point. I still do. I have it somewhere. And I had the case for the demo, but I only had the game. What do you call it? Disc only. So I was like, I'll just throw it in the demo's disc to keep it, the demo's box case to keep it safe. So that is the full game, and I can play that enhanced beautifully on my Series X. I'm getting into Hellblade for the first time, and I've had this game a while. Not a while, maybe since late last year I bought it. And it had, it's 4K Ultra HD enhanced on the Series X. I didn't have to buy a new version, a $40, $60 version to be able to enjoy that. And, I got Doom. I'm getting into Doom Eternal soon here. I never finished Gears 4, so I'm going to go back to Gears 4. But here's one of the games that are just fantastic, beautiful. Panzer Dragoon Orta. I don't know if there is a way to play this outside of, backwards compatible. I don't know if it's digitally anywhere. I have no idea. Nintendo America. Dear Mr. T, stop this stream or you will face legal action. That is hilarious. Let's see. I have nothing to announce. Nintendo of America, you're killing me. Sardonic, Nintendo of America, remember when you were good? This is hilarious. Where is Bayo 3, Nintendo of America? Says Tornage. That is hilarious. But yeah, if this is a Nintendo game 2 generations ago, I'd have to wait for a quote unquote remaster of this game. And it'd likely be close, if not full price. But this, I already have this game. I've had this game for almost 2 decades now. And I can just pop it into my current console and have beautiful, 120 frames, 4K. It is gorgeous on the Series X. Gorgeous. Smooth. It is amazing. And this game just came out to a lot of people who didn't play it on Xbox. But I bought this game back in the day. I'm a Star Wars nut. And this is a really good first-person shooter, strategy shooter. But it just came out for PS4 and Switch. And it wasn't, I think it's like, $30 maybe? So it's not like it was a full-price game. But I didn't have to pay anything. I got mine enhanced to look just as good as your version for nothing. I got it, that is awesome. That is super consumer friendly. And so these are my issues with current Nintendo. Obviously the Switch is a different beast. It's a small portable. You can't run old games. You can't put them in to the Switch, right? They can't play them. But, everybody knows if they had a decent system that tracked your purchases, because for years we've been putting in, if you buy games, you can register them through Nintendo, and they know you bought it, right? Because you have that code or whatever that comes in the box. You register it on your account. Nintendo knows I have a lot of these games on my account. All my Wii U first party games and second party whatever. are on my Nintendo account. Anything that Nintendo published that came out on Wii U, I pretty much bought, and so that's all. They're all in my account, so they know I bought them. They know I bought them full price, and why not throw me a bone and give me a digital version on my Switch when you port it over? But they don't do that kind of stuff, and that's not me asking anything crazy. Everybody else does that. Everybody else does that. You can bring over your stuff currently from your last gen console to your current gen console without no muss no fuss for the most part, and that's Nintendo going forward. You know, it's not about being like some things, a lot of things Microsoft Microsoft and Sony do are good things for consumers, good things for gamers. I know some Nintendo fans have this hatred for the other consoles to where they just can't, nothing they do is good. They're just all terrible, even though they've, repeatedly outperformed Nintendo consoles for some reason. They're just so terrible, right? Some fans, if Nintendo does something that the other companies are doing, it's automatically bad. No, there's a lot of stuff the other companies do that is great. Is there stuff they do that is terrible? Sure. There's stuff that Nintendo does that's terrible. Like what they just did to Mario in March. So don't act like, they're this, perfect deity. Because they're not. But doing what the other guys do, doing the good things that the other guys do, is not a bad thing to do. So I don't understand that argument. That's just a weird fanboy argument. So let's see. You guys are going off in the chat. I can't keep up. This is the first time in a long time I haven't been able to keep up with the chat because it's been moving. That memory stick do on PS Vita, says Sengoku. Does Series X play every Xbox game? No, it doesn't. That is a thing. I mean, that is the truth. And I wish it did, but currently it doesn't. But they're working, to put more, and they put more and more games on the Series X. So you're not going to get 100% at the end of the day, but you're going to get a lot of the major games that you own. I wish there are some of the lesser games that surprise me that are playable on the Series X. So I would have never thought Republic Commando. I mean, it's not like a small game. It's a Star Wars game, but it's a bit more obscure title. But yeah, Republic Commando runs. Psychonauts. I know, Microsoft owns Double Fine now. They're subsidiary. But the original Psychonauts, which I'm starting to play again in anticipation for Psychonauts 2, looks fantastic on Series X. Some of these games maybe look too clean. That is just like, maybe loses that charm of the older systems, if you're really a stickler for that kind of stuff. But at this point, I'm enjoying the hell out of my backwards compatibility, my forwards compatibility. That is games that just came out or, came out last gen on Xbox One, PS4. Third-party games that run on Xbox One better. If they go from 30 frames to 60 frames, or even to 120 frames. I think Titanfall 2 is 120 frames on Series X. I'm not sure what the resolution is. I think it's like a 2K upscale, but my goodness! And from what I hear, it is almost like playing a new game. So I'm looking forward to going back and playing Titanfall 2 because I love Titanfall 2. It's such a great game. Shout out to Falcon Black for the £2 donation. Thank you there. 4 years for the Switch native Zelda. What's that? 4 years for the Switch native Zelda pees me off. That's 4 years. I want to like Psychonauts, says Sardonic. But yeah, 4 years. That's crazy for a ground up Zelda game on Switch. That is insane. Now we can't, have a problem with Breath of the Wild being on Switch because I think we all said they should at this point, because it kept getting delayed. port it to the next system. So I got it. Once it was delayed to 2015, um, you know, we was like, by late 2015, we were like, because it was getting delayed again, we were like, you might as well just port that thing to the next console. So I got that. But it's crazy, like, because if you remember, and this is what I was thinking. I thought we'd have another Zelda by 2019, because I was thinking in terms of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. You're reusing assets, and the turnaround for that game was like a year and a half or something like that. Maybe not quite that, but I was expecting at least by 2020, and maybe they just held out for the anniversary. I don't know. I don't think so, because Nintendo doesn't really overly care about anniversaries. They'll do them once in a while. But yeah. I want to like Psychonaut says, Sardonic. I mean, it is an acquired taste. You got to kind of like that kind of Tim Burton-esque Double Fine thing. Nightmare Before Christmas type of stuff. But that humor. But I think the platforming and all that is solid. I think this is a really cool looking world. Really cool environments. Honestly, I don't feel much difference on my 120 hertz TV. I'd rather get max fidelity at 60. Yeah, I mean, this is just from what I hear from other people. Like, I don't know if 60 to 120. I never thought that it would be that huge of a difference. But at least it's going to be completely smooth all the way throughout, right? Even at 60, sometimes you get frame drops. But if it's 120, if it's shooting for 120, you're not going to see any issues through the entire game. So that's cool. Let's see. Terminator Juice. Titanfall 2 is only 840p, with 120 frames or 4K 60. Okay. I knew it wasn't. Oh, I felt like it wasn't going to be 4K. I thought maybe it was 2K upscaled or something, but 840p. Okay, that's a weird. That's a weird frame. Not frame rate. Resolution. Sengoku. Breath of the Wild was a Wii U game initially. Yeah, we know. Retro Death, I think Metroid Prime 4 is bad planning. Breath of the Wild 2 hasn't really had such controversy, I think. And there's no controversy around it. I just thought that it would come. I thought that the sequel would come out sooner than it has. And we're not even confirmed that it's coming. We all believe it's coming out this year, but it's not like it's confirmed yet. Let's see. Master Yoshi, Metroid Prime Trilogy shouldn't have come out for Wii. They should have waited and have only come out with it on Super Wii, Wii U, and HD to help with sale. Yeah, I mean that would have been great. In hindsight, I get why they did it, because it was easy to go from Wii to Wii U. Again, it was an easy thing to do, to port that game from Wii to Wii U and then add the motion controls. And Nintendo was a little confused with HD in the beginning, if you remember. So I understand why it came to Wii. And, they were trying to re-up some sales for the game as well, because, Prime 1 or 2, they didn't hit sales expectations. They did well, but they didn't hit the expectations that Nintendo was hoping for. So they were trying to make, some extra money on those games with the trilogy. Sardonyx, Yoshi's Crafted World was first party, so they make games. Gosh, stop being mean. Metroid Prime Trilogy, says 1GWX. It is 3 times now it would be since it was ported, right? Oh, I got you. Turn Juice. I don't think they are reusing many assets for Breath of the Wild 2, just the game engine. Well, that's huge, Juice. The game engine and physics. It takes, how long it takes to develop a game engine, especially physics. Yeah, look how long it took for Nintendo to put out Breath of the Wild. That's one of the reasons it kept getting delayed, was the physics engine. So that is a huge part. When I talk about assets, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the engine, stuff like that. So that is that's one of the biggest parts of it. And it's not like they're, it's not quite like Majora's Mask, where, No, I think it is a lot like Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask was a smaller game than Ocarina of Time, but similar. Let's see. Richard, so let me ask you this. T, are you excited for Nintendo E3? Hopeful. I am excited for Nintendo's E3, yes. But it is probably, barring some crazy surprise, it's the last thing I'm looking forward to. So for me, internally, I haven't really expressed this externally, but internally, I'm putting a lot on E3 for Nintendo this year because they've been so secretive about stuff. I'm hoping that they have a really good E3 that makes me super happy and shuts me up like a lot of these defenders would like me to shut up. But I need reasons to feel that way, not just because Tinder. Just because Nintendo. It's not enough for me. I know it's enough for a lot of people, but not for me. But yeah, I am excited for E3. I haven't really expressed that, but yeah, I am excited for Nintendo's E3 especially. So let's see. Lucius 120 frames only helps for competitive games. Oh, okay, yeah, you're talking to Lucius about that. I'm out of here, people. Great live chatting with you. All right, Juice, thanks for joining. Nintendo are not going to waste that Breath of the Wild engine. They'll use it a ton. I'm sure they will. They spend a long time developing Breath of the Wild and that engine and the physics and whatnot. So yes, they will. Nintendo says Falcon. Let's see. Breath of the Wild physics does things that current gen games still don't do. That is true, Lucius. It is both N64 titles. I'm missing something there. Sengoku, no surprise that Switch will not have a wow factor on first party compared to Wii U with re-releases. I mean, yeah, wow factor you're not going to get from re-releases for sure, or re-releases. But you can get from reintroducing. You can get it from reintroducing old stuff, reintroducing old franchises. I think people will be wowed by a new F-Zero. People will be wowed by a new Wave Race. People will be wowed by a new Kid Icarus. People will be wowed by Metroid Prime. Whenever it showed, I think. I don't think Nintendo is going to botch it again. And just, old franchises coming back. The people will be wowed by smaller franchises coming to Switch. Like, Dylan or... what was I talking about earlier? I was thinking about it earlier. Like even the Pushmo series, stuff that they just completely forgot about, left to 3DS and Wii U. That will excite a lot of fans. The same way Pokemon Snap excited a lot of fans. I haven't gotten it yet. I will get it. But that was very exciting for a lot of people. People were through the roof about that. People were very excited for Animal Crossing, obviously. It hadn't been on a home console since the Wii. So people are very excited about that. People are very excited about Mario Golf. I'm super excited about Mario Golf. Again, I'm a huge fan of Mario Golf. And, the N64 one and the GameCube one, those are fantastic games. I put tons of hours in both of those games. Love those games. So people were excited about tennis. It looked better than Ultra Trash, but it turned out to be not a whole lot better. Better in ways, but not quite the meaty outing we all were hoping for. So, Nintendo, yeah, one GWX. Maybe maybe you weren't around back then, but I had a long time ago. I made this video. What was it called? I sold my Wii U. Nintendo fans. So I don't think anybody used that before me. That term Nintendo. I think I coined that phrase. So I've coined a few phrases in this community. I hope that people remember. But yeah, I think that's what Falcon's alluding to. My And I've used it since then, obviously. But Nintendo was how I describe certain Nintendo fans who are too soft to criticism. They can't take it. They can't take the criticism of Nintendo. I call them Nintendo fans because they're so tender. They're so Nintendo. um, Retro Death. F-Zero is more dead than actual dead franchises. Yeah, if you can say something's dead, F-Zero is pretty much dead. Like, we haven't gotten one um, since F-Zero or F-Zero GX, right? Was that the last one? I was trying to think if there was one on handheld, but no, because F-Zero GP, that was Game Boy Advance. So yeah, it's dead. Kid Icarus is a little bit more alive than that because it came out on 3DS, at least early 3DS, but it came out. Um, but yeah, Wave Race. Wave Race is dead. Like, it's dead, and I think a lot of fans would be super excited to see it come alive again. I know a lot of fans would. We all want to see what that physics engine, that water engine, looks like in HD, and how it looks, and it's just, we know it's going to be gorgeous, and then we want to see that. So, it still looks really good on GameCube, especially if you have like a converter, or the composite cables. Looks really good, and it's 60 frames, and it's just gorgeous. So let's see, Lucius. I think I read that already. Lucius, yeah, F-Zero that combines racing with 3D beat 'em up might work. F-Zero? Oh, you mean like Falcon Punch? Let's see. Lucius Men, though pure racing wouldn't be bad either right now, although ideally on the next console. Yeah, I mean, I want a pure racing game from them. They can do both. They can still give me Falcon Punch, a fighting game, which I would love, because there's a lot of really intricate, oddball characters in F-Zero that you never get to see. Oh, they're just avatars for vehicles, right? We never get to see any personality and stuff from them. So there's a lot of characters already there. It would feel like it would be a wonderful one-on-one type of game. You have these F-Zero characters running around beating up stuff. That would be awesome. I think a lot of people would love that. I know I would. So 2D beat 'em up would be better for me, says Sardonic. Lucius Men, let's start with actual racing game after 18 years before we turn it into GTA. Because Miyamoto doesn't know what to do with it. Unlike Star Fox or Pokemon Snap or Pokemon Let's Go. Or Mario Party or Mario period. Clocked it. I think more than anything, most of us just want at least one HD entry for the old IPs we truly love, like F-Zeros, Wave Races, etc. Yeah, I think that's for sure. Had we gotten it on Wii U, it would have been fantastic, right? We would have loved it. But yeah, so we want that. We want to see our favorite. Like I don't understand the problem with that. What fans against these criticisms have to say about that? Like, what is the problem with seeing your favorite character in HD from Nintendo? I don't understand why that's an issue. Everybody wants that, even the ones who act like they don't. Let's see. There's rumor that Microsoft is gonna buy Nintendo soon. Yeah, no. Nintendo's worth too much. That's not gonna happen. They tried to do that back early Xbox. They tried to acquire Nintendo. That was the thing they were gonna do back then, but never happened. And so they settled for buying Rare and doing nothing with Rare. Even up until now. I mean, they've done stuff with Rare, but we're talking what? The pirate game, what is it called? That seemed to be popular. But outside of that, in the last 20 years, what has Rare done for Microsoft that really hit for them? Nothing. Grabbed by the Ghoulies, dud. Cameo. I still hurt for that game not being a GameCube game, Cameo. Because I think it would have fit really well on GameCube. But Cameo didn't do anything for them from launch. Perfect Dark Zero certainly didn't. So it's just been a waste. Richard Death says Xbox needs to sell first to make Microsoft money to be able to afford Nintendo. Well, for the first time in a long time, they're actually a profitable gaming division with Microsoft. So mostly thanks to Game Pass and Xbox Live. So finally, but they just bought a bunch of stuff, so they need to sell. And you're correct about that. But yeah, there's 30 people in here. That's cool. That excites me. Maybe I'll do this more often. Sunday afternoon streams, because nobody really does them, I don't think. In this community anyway. Most people wait till later in the evening. So maybe I'll stake out this territory. If you guys, want to do this. Sardonic Pickle says Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. Quit playing. Quit playing, Sardonic. Quit playing. We know that was a travesty on all levels. I don't know what. See, Rare. That's the thing about Rare. That game is so rare. And I don't mean rare as in. I mean rare as in the company. Because Rare has done that. They've gone. Banjo-Kazooie was not Banjo-Kazooie when it first started. It was a side-scrolling-ish pirate game with Mario. I guess you would say Mario RPG kind of type of graphics on Super Nintendo, and you played this kid. I forgot what his name was, with a sword, and he was like a pirate-ish kind of character. That was Banjo-Kazooie, and then there was a bear character in the game, that version, that moved over to the N64, and the bear character became the main character, being Banjo. And it took them a while to come up with Kazooie in the backpack. And that is a process Rare goes through, even historically, to make games. Conker, famously, was, a happy-go-lucky 3D platformer, until pretty late, and they switched it up. And so this is a process that Rare goes through. So them coming to nuts and bolts is not a surprise. It's not unrare-like. It's just the fact that they thought they stayed with it, instead of saying, no, we need to try another go at this and do something different. The problem is they stuck on the nuts and bolts idea, the building cars and stuff, and the physics engine and all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. They stuck on that instead of doing Rare and, changing it one more time to probably make it a game that we all would have liked. So, I like Grunty's Revenge. Oh, Banjo-Tooie? Is that what it's called? Yeah. Is it Banjo-Tooie? No, Grunty's Revenge is the Game Boy Advance game. Yeah, I like that too. I never played Banjo Pilot. Is that only... I feel like that's only in you guys' territory. I don't know if it ever came out here. I remember it. I know what it looks like. I can see it visually. What the cartridges look like. It's like Banjo Pilot, and there's like wings in the logo on the outsides of that word. But Co-op Home... I can't read your whole name here. Hold on, maybe it'll pop up down here. Here we go. Co-op Home Videos... I Want Conker's Bad Fur Day 2, but they canceled it. That sucks. Yeah, well, again, Rare, they start, sometimes they get it too much into their own heads, and they will talk themselves out of okay ideas that could be good, because they were just going to make a straight-up sequel to Banjo-Kazooie 2, or Banjo-Tooie, for Xbox, but they talked themselves out of it. They're like, oh, nobody really wants that 3D platformer anymore. Collectathon, nobody's into that. But even that was like when Ratchet and Clanks and whatnot were still doing well, you know. So I don't know. It is the history that we have, unfortunately. They'd Halo Banjo instead of Nintendoing Xbox. You can't Halo Banjo. I mean, it just doesn't work. You can jack to it, but that's not going to work at all. Banjo, those characters are too comical to try to turn them into serious, brooding characters the way Naughty Dog did to Jack 2 and Jack 3, and even the racing game. It was overly serious to a whimsical, cartoony game. I feel like Banjo 3E will happen, and I think it will be called Banjo 3E. I really do. I feel like it's going to happen. Call me crazy, but I feel like that's going to be a thing. So hang on, Sardonic. Hang on. Let's see. Oh, you're talking to Lucius there. You have a tear face, though, Sardonic. Are you saying you don't think it will happen, or did you misspell it, or you not misspell, but is it a typo? You think Banjo 3E will not happen? Banjo clawing his enemies with real blood? Yeah, that is not going to be a thing. That would be a terrible, terrible decision. They're really dig into those first-person shooter segments on Banjo Tooie. Banjo Tooie out for blood, or Banjo 3E, Bloodworks. That would be funny. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't be funny. It would be awful and terrible. So don't do that ever. But yeah, I just wanted to point out one more thing. I forgot. So like I said, I'm enjoying my Series X immensely. I'm enjoying the experiences and the re-experiences I'm having because of the increased power, frame rates, and resolutions and all that good stuff. And the games do, a lot of the games, especially original Xbox games, they do look night and day better. I was playing the original Splinter Cell, and I was like, this game is too clean. It looks too clean. It doesn't feel right, And that has always been my worry about like remastering certain era of games, is losing the charm. That's why I never cared for this crazy remaster of Super Mario 64, because I feel like that game doesn't work with modern tropes. If you were to take Super Mario 64 and do that whole Unreal Engine, you've seen plenty of videos with that. They don't feel right to me. It doesn't look right to me. Mario 64 shouldn't look, quote unquote, that good because of the size of the game. It was built for the N64. To me, it doesn't really fit that kind of aesthetic visually. Sure, you want to bump up the frame rate. You want to give me a 16:9, widescreen version. Sure, that would be great of the game that we already have. I wish they had done that for this thing. They didn't. I mean, they cleaned the textures up. The textures are cleaner, but it looks like the emulated version of the game if you bought it emulated. But yeah, so I bought a couple of these. Not because I want them, buy them. It's for the collector in me, and I'll if the price is right, I'll probably let go of them because I'm never gonna play Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine or Galaxy this way. I'm just not gonna do it. I guess Mario Sunshine is probably the most tempting, but I don't really care for that game as much, so I'm not gonna go back and restart it at all. But so that's the most tempting because you can now use the GameCube controller. They did actually update it to where you can use the GameCube controller and you can use analog triggers and whatnot. I don't even know if they're if it's like true analog triggers or if it's just like pressing a button. the way it was before. But you know, why did they get rid of this? Like I don't care for it myself, but for preservation and whatnot, I don't understand why they got rid of this. Um, T has so little Nintendo games to buy, he buys them all twice. Yeah, that's what's going on. I don't have any games to buy. I end up buying them twice for my Switch. But I actually think I might even cop one more copy of this. That the prices are starting to tick up a little bit online for reselling these. So I may do that. Keep one sealed for the collection and just sell the other ones. I don't know. We'll see. But my enjoyment today mostly is coming from, and there are games that I could play on Switch that I need to finish. My excitement is waning right now, and I'm hoping E3 will shoot it back up. But right now, uh, uh, retro and current or to last gen stuff on my Series X is great for me. And also, I've talked about PSVR. I'm trying to finish this game right now. I have Farpoint. This game is awesome. If they made a game like this where you explored a whole lot more, that's what they need to do in VR. They need to make a game built around exploring and finding things and stuff like that. Totally immersive. This is a shooter. So you still get the cool alien world stuff, which is great, and then beautiful vistas and all that good stuff. But this is mostly a pretty linear shooter. But if they'd done something like this, to where you can explore a lot more, I'm so sold for that. And I guess there's elements of that in No Man's Sky. As you can see, these games are sealed. I haven't gotten to them yet. I'm trying not to pop open too many and play too many at once. I want to play them in succession to some degree. Can't wait to play this Concrete Jungle in VR. And that's what's cool. A lot of games get the VR treatment, and I was hoping, and it's still a possibility, I guess, that new Pokemon Snap, will get the VR treatment on Switch. Hopefully, because they've done it. Strange things, they've done it for obscure things like did Mario Galaxy or Mario Odyssey need that little VR segments that they have? No, it's kind of weird and strange. It's cool, but that makes me hold out hope for Pokemon Snap getting a VR mode because it only makes sense. That game needs to be in VR. I caved in, bought 3D All Stars 2. Yeah. I mean, I bought it for the collection, like I said. I will never play it. But it is in the collection. I did start. Here's the thing. I bought 2 sealed copies. One from Walmart, one online. But the one online came with a just cart only. So technically I have 3 copies. So if I ever actually end up playing it, I'm going to keep the cart only copy of it and just sell the other ones. And so, yeah, Metroid Prime VR. That would be cool. That would certainly be cool. But we need a Metroid Prime first. Smash didn't need a VR mode. Yes, there you go. Bad latency. Perfect example. Smash did not need a VR mode. Because why? You can't play it in VR. You can only watch AI matches in VR. Well, it looks cool. It looks really cool, actually. But it doesn't need VR. So if Smash can get VR, I would think Pokemon Snap should definitely get a VR mode. It just, that makes sense. Where Smash doesn't make any sense. It's popular. Breath of the Wild, and I mean that's the only thing. Breath of the Wild and Smash Brothers Ultimate are popular games. And Breath of the Wild makes sense because it's a big, beautiful world. And I fully I don't know if I'll actually play the entire game in VR, but I'll play it in stints in VR, and I have been. But I don't know if I'll go back and play. Have a whole playthrough of Breath of the Wild in VR. I don't know if I'll do that. It might be a little too much. But yeah, Smash didn't need it, and it got it. So, I mean, it doesn't need it. It's not like Pokemon Snap needs it. It just makes way too much sense. It makes way more sense for Pokemon Snap to have it than Smash. So, a 2D game for VR. Yeah, I mean, it's 2D games in VR are basically like a 3D, like looking at your 3DS. So it's just about getting that cool depth. It's not, you're immersed in the world or anything. It's about getting that cool VR or 3D effect. It's basically Smash VR is basically Virtual Boy. Without just being red, Virtual Boy in all colors. So that's what it's like. Perfect Dark would make a good VR game or an arcade light gun shooter type of thing. Yeah, I could see that. I'd play that for sure. I mean, shooters in general look really cool in VR. Now you just have to worry about the controls. If you get the controls right, shooters. I know there's Doom VFR, and I'm wondering if I should play it because I don't have, other than the Switch version, I don't have a copy of that game physically. So I'm thinking about maybe trying Doom VFR. I don't know, and I know it's built for VR, so they've done things to the controls, and I've seen reviews of it, and people love it. So maybe I'll try it. But shooters just look really cool in VR because it's very immersive. Outside of kind of 3D games, like there's a game that we got for free that I was gonna buy physically, but it's super expensive, like $80, called Moss on PlayStation VR. It's about you play this like fairy tale mouse character, like medieval times type of thing. And you go into levels, and the camera's locked, but you look here and there, and you can push your face in and get closer to stuff, and it's really gorgeous and it's really cool, and it's just amazing, and it's had the storybook effect. You can actually flip pages in the book to go to the next level. It's really cool. I'm going to do a video on it. So you have stuff like that where it's really immersive because of that. But as far as like being in the world, I'm talking like Ready Player One type of stuff. Shooters are perfect for that. Third person games don't really work to me as well. I think you would get kind of sick seeing that character like in front of you and then like moving around virtual. I don't think that works. For VR game, you want first person stuff. Or, like I said, the lock camera kind of, this is cool to have the depth 3D kind of stuff, lock camera stuff. But seeing your character move around in VR, in like a third, like say, like Batman Arkham. Like Batman Arkham VR doesn't work. To me, that doesn't work. You get sick, I think, pretty quickly. Wow, Virtual Boy was the future. Yeah, I mean, Virtual Boy was way better than what we got. Gunpei Yokoi, the creator of Game Boy and a lot of games and stuff, he wanted more time. He was doing some cool stuff. The tech for it, even at the time, was really good. Nintendo rushing it is what happened. Nintendo rushed it because the N64 got a delay. It was supposed to come out in '95, but it got delayed to '96. So Nintendo felt like they needed some hardware on the market because Sony was doing their thing, Sega had their system out, and Nintendo didn't want to be out there for another whole year without having some hardware out in the market. So they rushed the Virtual Boy. The Virtual Boy was way cooler. The prototype was way cooler than what we got. Nintendo just whittled that thing down, you know, to not be good, because it was in color, it had all this stuff, but you know, Nintendo started looking at the cost and whatnot, and they pushed it out, and that's why the Virtual Boy is crappy as it is. So, shooters in VR is what I dreamt of as a kid. Says Sardonic. I always imagined dropping into a world of GoldenEye or Perfect Dark. I don't know why I haven't got PSVR yet. I don't know if I would recommend even PSVR unless you got a really good deal. Like I got a phenomenal deal on it. So I don't know if I'd recommend somebody pick it up and go through it because there is better VR. That's the thing. PSVR is great, but there are better options for VR out there. But you have to have a really nice gaming PC rig to get that stuff. There's the Oculus. It's a standalone setup, so that's great. And I heard it's much better than PSVR. And then Sony's going to be dropping a new VR system, I think, for PS5. So maybe you wait on that because it's all going to be backwards compatible. So you're not going to miss any of those games if you plan on getting a PS5. I don't know if you have one now, but there are going to be better options. But I remember that it's wearing off a little now. But I remember like the first time, like playing Astrobot and Moss, and just being blown away. And even Farpoint. Farpoint blew my socks off the first time I played it. I was just like, I'm looking around, like, I'm in this setup. Like, so a swivel chair is what you want. Because unless you're going to stand up the whole time, which is not a thing I want to do, playing those games, you get your nice, you get your swivel chair on. Make sure you have some room around you. And play that way. And it's great. So I think maybe I'll wait to the PS5 VR. Yeah, I again, if you can't get a great deal on it, like I paid $180 for for everything that you need for the PS VR. So it came with the camera, came with the headset, 2 Move controllers. I thought I had games, but it didn't come with that in the box. All the setup, the little module that you need, which is like the processing unit that plugs into your system. All that came for $180, and you can't do that anywhere. I just got lucky on that, so I couldn't recommend somebody going out buying a headset, buying the camera if you don't get it together, buying the Move controllers if you can't find a nice bundle for it. So, Sengoku, wow, Mr. T, learning me gaming history as I am 20 years younger than Mr. T. That's what I want to do here. That's was my big thing is that schooling younger gamers or just talking gaming history, not motivated to school people. Just I love the history of gaming. So, but yeah, I think you're referring to my talk about the Virtual Boy. Virtual Boy was way better. I feel like there's a video on YouTube somewhere that talks about it. Maybe Gaming Historian. I'm not sure. He did a Virtual Boy. Maybe that's a good source. If you go put in Gaming Historian, I think he talks about the history of what they were building with the Virtual Boy. So you can see that it was going to be way better than what we got. That happens a lot with Nintendo or just gaming in general. Products. The Power Glove. The Power Glove was supposed to be way better than what we got. But because of costs, in production, they whittled it down to what it was, which wasn't great. But the initial technology, even for that time, was awesome. Same thing with the Virtual Boy. The technology was awesome. Same thing with N64. The N64 was supposed to be much better than it was. Using those, what was it? The 3D workstations. What were they called? If they would have launched the N64, what it was supposed to be graphically, power-wise, and making it disc-based, the N64 there would probably be no PlayStation right now. had they launched the N64 the way they were going to, based on like their development of it. So yeah, it's really cool stuff. You go back and check it out. Was the Switch supposed to be better? That's a good question. There was rumors that it was supposed to be better. Yes, I'll answer my own. Yeah, I mean, I think it was. I think it was supposed to be. And Nintendo got scared, which Nintendo does. They got scared probably with the price, stuff like that. They were coming off the Wii U. They were worried about sales and would they actually be able to do what they did? Because they projected the Wii U to sell 100 million consoles. It seems crazy to us now, but that was their projection for the Wii U. And no, didn't do that. But yeah, if it was what they initially set out to be, the Switch, I think it would have been much better. I think it would have been a 1080p screen. I think the power would have been better. I think a lot of stuff would have been better. But they wanted that price. I think if they would have put out a Switch for $500, that was what they were. It had everything they wanted it to have. Maybe it wouldn't have sold as much, but it would have been a much better console. It wouldn't have sold as much because of the price. It's way more affordable, and so Nintendo was right about that. SGI Workstation, thank you, Major Malfunction. SGI Workstation. So yeah, that's what happens a lot of times. They have this lofty goal they set early on in the production of something, and then they slowly start to whittle away at it. Well, can we get this down? We need to get this price down, and so getting those prices down is what leads to the technology not being as cool as initially. Because I remember my friend Carl. I wish I could remember his last name so I can find him and find out what he's doing these days. Carl in high school. Before the N64 was coming out, he was stupid excited for it because he had heard about all the tech that they were putting into it, and I never got to see because it launched after N64 launched the fall of when I graduated, and we kind of fell apart after that. After high school, people separate. They go in the military, they go into college, and so I don't know what his. We didn't keep in touch, so I don't know what his feeling of when the N64 actually came out. I would like to know if he was still as excited for it. Knowing him, he would probably definitely have gone on to be a super uber Dreamcast fan, and maybe he went on to PlayStation after that. I don't know, but he was a Super Nintendo fan. He was like I don't mean Super Nintendo, the console. I mean like he was a big Nintendo fan, and he was really excited for the N64, and he was always, because I was like video games. I'm in high school. I'm done with video games after this. I'm getting grown. I'm done with it. So I wasn't really paying attention. I was just enjoying my Super Nintendo, and that was going to be it for me as a gamer. I'm getting too old for this. I'm growing up. But he was all in. He started to get me excited for the N64. He got me into paying attention to it and just like reading everything about it and following it. And so I would like to have known how he felt once it came out, if he was as excited as a fan. Let's see. SGI Workstations. Yeah, I read that. He's talking to Sardonic there. Juices and Goku. Watch that video. Wii U price doesn't make sense. Yep. Yeah, go back and watch the history of my channel, if you will. There it is. Nintendo is just cheap. They don't want to eat costs. Yeah, I mean, 32 gigabyte, not only 32 gigabyte carts, but 32 gigabytes on the Wii U as your hard drive. 32 gigs. That's the best you get. Now, I didn't mind it as much because I was like, oh, I'll just go out and buy whatever hard drive I want and not be upcharged for a hard drive and built into the console by the manufacturer. So I was cool with that. But at this point, you can't do that anymore. You need, you want to have a SD, HD. What is it called? SD. It's not SD. A solid state. You want a solid state drive. Um, let's see. Technology is limited when it comes to ultra thin processors. On the x86 side, the current best offering is a Tiger like with Iris Xe. I'm already mentally moving off because that stuff does nothing for me. All that tech speak when it comes to this. I just like the end product. um, but yeah, that happens a lot. You have your goal, and then you start whittling away at your goal to get to what you feel is you can actually put out. Um, so yeah, unfortunately, that happens all the time. Most of the time, you have to whittle back your initial ideas for something. It's called editing. You have to edit yourself, and that's normal. That makes sense. That you edit your ideas, because if you don't, you're gonna get yourself in trouble a lot of times. But sometimes you can over edit your ideas, and I think with the Virtual Boy for sure that was over edited. They should have just not put that thing out until it was ready. And N64 in ways was edited too, that I wished it hadn't been. So, Angel Page, it's a myth that Nintendo cheap out on the Wii U. You couldn't get a streaming device with that low latency. No. I don't, because I don't think they cheaped out on the Wii U. I think because it's not a cheap console whatsoever. And what it does is pretty phenomenal. Like you said, it streams, with almost no latency to the gamepad. But because of that, they had to cut in other places. Like, it's still, I feel like it's, see, I don't get into the tech stuff too much, but the CPUs were certainly lacking. And that was likely due to the fact that they wanted to spend more money connecting the gamepad to the system. So they had to cut costs somewhere. And I think they cut back on the CPU, because, those CPUs weren't the strongest. And a lot of games were moving on from being CPU based to being more GPU based. So, again, that's as far as I'm going to get into the tech stuff, because I don't pay too much attention to it. But from what I remember, that's what it was. But the Wii U is certainly a strongly built console, and the fact that it streams with the latency it does is amazing. So Sardonic, gotta go and have breakfast. Fun guy. Have fun, guys. All right, Sardonic, thanks for joining. I'm about to get out of here too. You're having breakfast. I'm about to get dinner ready. So we're on the different side of the pond here, as they say. But I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to emphasize. Oh yeah, so I was talking about, because I talked about how I was, I predicted that the Switch would outsell the Wii years ago. And I was talking about, the milquetoast Nintendo YouTubers, the brand flake tubers, who, never cared, or didn't believe. First of all, they didn't believe that the Switch would outsell the Wii, because it didn't hit those check boxes. Because a lot of people forget, back before Switch, dead Wii U, before Switch, there was all these checklists that Nintendo fans were putting out. It has to have this. It has to have that. The next console has to have this and this and that. Power, this, this and this and that. Features, blah, blah, blah. And it mostly hit none of those check marks. The Switch didn't. And so when the Switch came out and they showed that trailer, And what was it, November of 2016, whatever it was. They showed that trailer. A lot of Nintendo fans were gobsmacked, looking at their screens like that's what it is. That's what it's going to be. They almost couldn't believe it. Now I right away said this thing's going to be a hit, but I guarantee you, in the mind of their minds, those guys were thinking, "Oh, this is going to be trash. It's going to be another Wii U. Blah 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 blah. Where's the power?" And so a lot of those guys went on to like rumor videos and, oh, the dock. Don't worry, guys. The dock has built-in power capabilities. All right, so don't worry. The Switch is way more powerful than you think because the dock is a processing unit itself. We found out that wasn't the case. Oh, don't worry, guys, because the Switch Pro is coming. So these guys never were satisfied with what the Switch does. Like, I'm always satisfied with what a console does if the games deliver. And I mean, like, the unique games deliver. I need, give me some really cool, unique to the system, what do you call them? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Exclusives to that system. Give me that stuff. And then that's all I need. I don't need power, whatever. Okay, as long as it runs games well, then I'm happy. But give me some unique stuff. Give me some stuff that makes this purchase of this hardware feel good. So I don't care about 80 to 90% of Switch's games because I can get them better on other systems, and a lot of times I can get them cheaper, or I already have them. So that's not what I care about when it comes to a console, or a Nintendo console especially. I'm looking for Nintendo content exclusive. That give me that charm, give me that Nintendo difference. That's what I'm looking for. So I don't find merit in third-party multiplats that come out later and run worse. Like, I don't have I don't get you don't get points from me on that. And that was actually a thing with my GameCube. The GameCube, actually games were in great and looked great on GameCube. Sometimes better than the PS2 third-party game, version. But that's not what makes the GameCube unique. What makes the GameCube unique is GameCube games, right? Game only on there that I can get. That's what gives the system its identity. And so the Switch has an identity crisis because it robbed a lot of its games from the Wii U. And, again, 80 to 90% of its games I can buy on other consoles and run better. So just the fact of having more games doesn't mean anything to me. That's not enough. I love the N64. The N64 library is one of the lowest libraries out there. Only library smaller as far as the home console goes than the N64's is the Wii U. So it's not just about games. It's about what do those games do for that system. What's the uniqueness? What's the value proposition? That's what matters to me most. So when look at all these games. Dude, like, if I wanted those games, I would get them on a system that runs them better. Like, for the most part. Like, again, I showed some games that I don't care about that stuff as much with. But there are some games that I feel I like to play better on Switch. Some of those types of games. But for the most part, I probably wouldn't play them on Switch anyway. But, so that's the thing. A lot of these guys who didn't predict the way I did that the Switch would outsell the Wii, they didn't believe it. They're making their money now off the Switch and not being honest with their viewers and just blowing smoke up your skirts and keeping you happy. But those guys didn't believe in the Switch day one the way I did. So that's why, some people will, some people won't. That's why you should take my opinion for, me not just being a boo bird and being upset and want to hate. I had more faith and still do. I think for the most part, I have more faith in the Switch than these guys who eat off the Switch hype. You know, I had more faith in those guys from the beginning, and my channel proves it. Go to my channel and look at my pre-switch videos, or when it was announced as a switch, even beforehand. But when it was announced as a switch, check out my videos and my excitement for the switch, and check out those guys' videos for the reveal of the switch up until I say mid 2017, and see who was the real fan. You know what I'm saying? Because that's, a thing. I was there, and I just got disappointed as time went on because it wasn't delivering on the game's side as far as uniqueness, and that started happening, like I said, mid 2018. It bounced back a little bit in 2019, and 2020 was, okay, but it's not up to where it should be with a system that's doing as well as this is doing. On top of Nintendo not having a portable console or portable system to worry about. Ever since the Super Nintendo has had a fantastic, high selling distraction and a portable console to deal with. A Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, DS, 3DS. Like, Nintendo's always had that up until the Switch. So you would think we'd get even more, or at least a combination somewhere in between of what we got on 3DS compared to the home console and stuff, along with having cool stuff come out for the Switch. So we haven't done that, and they haven't done much as far as, we're dealing with a black and white background still on our Switches. We don't have folders. I have to go into a basement, especially for digital games. I got to go into the basement, if I haven't played them in a while. You know what I'm talking about, that basement on your Switch where you go into the little other games or whatever, dongle, the little icon, and then it's just like, where all your games are buried. So you have that. I'm paying $20 for a service that I mostly don't care about, which is like the NES and the SNES games. Why would I care about, as a fan who came from Virtual Console, why would I care about your NES and your SNES output when I have way better options? And you gave them to me. You sold them to me. Way better options to play those games on. I have a SNES Mini. I have a NES Mini. I have a... This is getting dusty under there. I have an NES Mini, and I have the Sega Mini. Sega Genesis Mini. So why would I care about your trickled out NES, SNES online games when I have way better options for those? $20 for what? So I can... I'm only paying $20 so I can play online, which is pathetic, So those are my gripes, and I think they're valid freaking gripes to have. And I don't understand any fan who came from the Virtual Console, who came from Miiverse, free, to look at Switch Online and say, that's good. That's a good value. You're lying. You're being Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? So that is what it is. Let's see. Angel Page. It was obvious Switch was going to be a hit upon reveal. RDR2 was revealed on the same day. Is that Red Dead Redemption 2? And Switch trended stronger. Reveal video had almost 30 million hits in the first week. Yeah, even if you just go off that, I wasn't even going off that. I wasn't going off how many hits it got or any of that. I was going off the fact that you have a Nintendo console, and again, we had a whole lot of reports, but we saw the new Mario, which became Odyssey. We saw Skyrim. So we saw that we were going to also get. We saw Skyrim remastered. We saw we're going to get current ports. We saw we're going to get current support. And I could take that thing anywhere. And I can just hook it up to the TV, and I have the same experience. For the most part, obviously, you're losing a little bit sometimes in the handheld only version. So, to me, it was a no-brainer. And I'm not like, oh, just some Switch. I thought everything would be. I wasn't sure about Wii U. I don't have the videos to prove it because I didn't have a channel at the point. I didn't have a channel for Wii U until a year after the Wii U was out. I didn't have a channel on YouTube until the year after the Wii U was out, so I can't prove how I was feeling. But I felt a little off about the Wii U. I didn't feel, I wasn't sure. Now, I liked the gamepad, loved it. I loved what they were doing with Nintendo TV. I loved all that stuff. But I just wasn't sure if it was going to take off. Because I wasn't sure about the Wii fans moving over to the Wii U. And they didn't. So, there's that. Let's see. Super Metal Dave 64 comes to mind on the Switch Pro rumors. Yeah, I mean, I have no ill will towards the guy. I followed him for a while. I think I still follow him. I don't really watch as many videos because it's all about tech stuff, and that stuff does nothing for me. But there is a contingent of fans that stuff does for. And those are people who, they want to get mad at me. Again, they get mad at me for criticizing Nintendo. They get mad at me. But they were never, if you look at their viewing, they're not nowhere near as satisfied with the Switch as they act like they are. Because they're always looking at the next. Oh, like I said, the dock has more power in it. Remember that? That went on for a while. And then when that wasn't happening, it was all about the Switch Pro. So, who had more faith in the Switch than I did? It's easy to have faith in the Switch now. It's a success. It's a proven success now. But those guys didn't have the faith that I had back then. They were like, oh no, they were worried. Look at the faces on their videos when they talked about it. They didn't think it was going to do what it's doing. It did. It's doing now. But they'll never tell you that. And they benefited from the Switch's success on YouTube, and I haven't, because I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. So it's a myth that. Oh no, I went too far back. I wanted to see. I think it was Angel was saying something. Wii to Wii U was actual big increase in performance. When they do well, they usually follow with more. Yeah, that's not what I was going to read though. Oh, here it is, Angel. And the thing is, you didn't need a rumor mill to know where Nintendo are going. Sometimes they literally tell you. Right. These guys are more excited about the rumor mill than what's actually on the console and the console itself. They get so hyped up and twisted up about that stuff, and you don't see them when it comes to the actual, games themselves and the system itself. Lucia's current Nintendo Switch only has a USB-C port, not enough bandwidth for a decent power dock experience. Yeah. Sengoku Switch launch in Japan in 2017 was so amazing. Nobunaga ambition. Lucius Mend current Switch only. Oh, I read that already. What? How did I go back? It's jumping. Why is it jumping? Lucius Mend Switches is the handheld, man. I want the console experience back with the current Gen V. Yeah, I mean, I understand that argument. I don't quite agree with Switch, being the handheld first, because it's not. Sure, it's a handheld. You can also, but there isn't another console. There's another handheld out there that does what the Switch did day one, and still does. Um, so and as effortless. Yes, it's not a. I think if it was more powerful, people wouldn't be calling it handheld. But because it's not as powerful, it's easier to say, "Oh, it's just a handheld. I want the console." Well, the Wii, the Wii would like to have a word with you. Just because something is a console doesn't mean it's going to be everything you're expecting it to be either. So, see, that's disingenuous. I don't know who you're talking to there. Basement, all software icon. Yeah, all software icon. Thank you, 1GW. I couldn't remember it off top. Yeah, all software icon. That's it. That's the one I'm talking about. That's the basement. um, the console side of Switch is suffering due to the handheld nature, from poor storage solution to relatively weak graphics. Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. But I knew that going in that it would suffer from uh, on the software side because it's not going to be as powerful. I knew that, but I thought Nintendo would bring such cool uniqueness to it that it wouldn't matter. You know, it would be your Nintendo console. You wouldn't be trying to make it a hybrid, not in terms of portability, but hybrid in terms of playing 360 games. You know, and 540p. Let's see. The Wii U. Oh, Juice is back. The Wii U reveal was underwhelming, and the launch was not exciting for me. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what it was. The reveal wasn't as exciting, so I didn't feel like it was going to be a success based on that. In the launch, you know, Nintendo Land was cool, but they didn't have a killer app at launch, and that certainly hurt. Um, Lucius Men Wii U reveal had the fake good-looking Zelda trailer. Shame it never realized. Are you talking about that demo? I didn't think that demo looked as great as a lot of people think. like, it looked like you know better Twilight Princess, which I never was a fan. I wasn't a big fan of Twilight Princess's art style and visual style. So that that Zelda demo for Wii U never did anything for me. It was cool, but Lucius Men Wii U reveal had. I read that already. Angel Page, I liked the Wii U reveal. Thought the gamepad had awesome potential. Yeah, I liked that little trailer for the gamepad, but it still left a lot to be desired. Sengoku, I was 13 years old when I picked my Wii U up day one. Wow, you're young. Um, Shadow Boxing. Only thing I was hyped for when I saw the Wii U reveal was Razor's Edge. That hyped a lot of people up. I remember that. Darksiders 2. That reel hyped a lot of people up because it was like, oh look, Nintendo is getting, third party multiplats, big ones, major ones. So that was a hype moment for sure. But boy, did we not know what was coming. Batman and the Ghost Recon Online and ended up disappointed. Yeah, we never got Ghost Recon because not EA, but Ubisoft. EA and Ubisoft kind of started taking backward steps pretty much right after that reveal. New Super Mario Brothers U on my Wii U took 6 months to beat it with 5 stars save file. Nice. Dedication. Falcon Black Twilight Princess is ugly as fuck. I agree, man. I never liked because people were really excited for Twilight Princess after Wind Waker because it was like, oh, Wind Waker, you look like a little 10-year-old wide-eyed kid, and it's all cartoony looking. Give me my realistic Zelda, like the Space World 2000 demo, and it didn't look as good as that. Or I don't want to say that because there was aspects of that demo that looked kind of archaic or looked kind of like early stuff. I think the GameCube actually did end up looking better than that demo did. Maybe not as clean texture wise, as sharp, but there wasn't a whole lot of polygons really going on. It was just some bloom lighting and just overly effect stuff that probably made it look better than it was. But yeah, so people are looking forward to a quote unquote more realistic, more mature looking Zelda. But Twilight Princess was ugly to me as well. The way Link ran, he was all stiff, like the animation. Like I had issues with that game. Um, I liked it overall, but visually it wasn't. It had that P filter on Wii, the piss filter that everybody talks about. But yeah, I liked it until I liked and still like Nintendo Land. Yeah, I mean, Nintendo Land is great. I wish it was online, but it's not a killer app. It's not Wii Sports, and I think Nintendo felt like it was Wii Sports, or it felt like it had going to have a Wii Sports like effect, and it did impact. Ground textures were definitely bad, even when Twilight Princess first. Oh crap! Jumping. Nintendo Land doesn't closest. Nintendo Land was the closest thing to getting F Zero, says Falcon Black. Yeah, looks grainy and muddy. Yeah, Twilight Princess is. Twilight Princess HD is quite an improvement. Lucius Mint ground textures were definitely bad when TP came out. Midna Zelda seeing Gorons after Wind Waker was very memorable to me. Angel says, I can't believe we still have fans who obsess over console power and Breath of the Wild fire arrows fizzle out in the water. Exactly. That's why I don't, again, because I know Nintendo, they're magicians with what they have. So that's why I never get too crazy about the power they don't have. On the water surface, like Jesus, but realism. Yeah, the water was amazing. There's a lot of stuff in Breath of the Wild that just look gorgeous still. So, but again, the guys who are making a living off of Switch didn't have that faith in the Switch because of the power, lack of power, stuff like that. So, Twilight Princess was when the Ocarina template started getting a little stale, but I still love the game. Yeah, the game itself is great. I'm talking about visually. But I loved the dungeons in it. I loved a lot of the how do you say? I guess the tools and weapons and stuff I liked a lot. I thought the puzzles in some dungeons were really good. I think the lore of it was great. I liked the whole. What was it? What was the realm Minda came with? Was it just the dark realm, the shadow realm, something like that. I like the whole. I like the story of it. The darkness of it, if you will. But yeah, the atmosphere was great. Yeah, animation on Link was funky. Yeah, yeah. That was one of the things I noticed right away. I was like, why does he run so weird? He's stiffy and funny. Stiffy? His running is just so weird and awkward. He's running like he has a tall torso and little legs. Oh, going the wrong way here. Okay, so I'm about to get out of here soon, guys. Let's see. Nintendo consoles, major malfunction says, Nintendo consoles have become secondary for me. Switch is still $399 plus tax. Oh, $499 with a bundle. I went PC to create games and play them. I'm stuck without Nintendo games and it sucks. Feel you on that one. Major malfunction. Gotta agree on Nintendo Land T. Yeah, online. Can't believe the games in Nintendo Land weren't online. Stuff like that, which makes me want to slap the big N. Says Clocked It. Turn introduce people who bring up Breath of the Wild as an example of why Nintendo doesn't need to have super powerful console. I don't think that's what he's saying, Juice. I think he's saying the emphasis is crazy. I think there's too much emphasis on it. Yet they forget that we wouldn't have gotten Breath of the Wild without that huge jump from Wii to Wii U. I'm not sure what you mean on that. There's gonna be. I think there's always gonna be a jump, right? There was a jump, not a big one from GameCube to Wii, but there's always going to be a leap. I think he's talking about the overemphasis of the leap and the overemphasis of power. Because naturally, you're going to have a power increase. You're going to have better with that stuff naturally. That's going to happen. It's just the emphasis on it has to be titty flops all over the place. That kind of stuff, I think, is what he's talking about. Do you remember the Zelda demo and the Wii U trailer fighting Goma? That looked clean. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Falcon Black. Like, that didn't do much for me. That looked like, Twilight Princess HD. That's why I wasn't too keen on it. Like, it didn't move me. It was cool to see Link in HD and all that stuff. That was great. But, like, people were like, oh, I wish that would have been the way the next Zelda looked. And I'm like, no, I disagree. Go look at Link. Link looks like he has a peach face. Something's wrong with, like, the texturing on his face. He has, like, it's almost like hairy. I don't know. Go back and look at it. Unbelievable. If Nintendo viewed Nintendo Land as their next Wii Sports was a simple concept that had more potential to appeal. Yeah, when I say that, I don't mean they thought it was going to be Wii Sports. What I'm saying is I felt like they thought it was going to have the impact of Wii Sports. This is Wii Sports. This is why the Wii Remote is awesome, right? This is why. It's a simple way to show you how awesome the Wii Remote is, right? I think they wanted Nintendo Land to be their way to show you how the gamepad is. But the gamepad in itself is a complicated device. Like, it's not as simple as a Wii Remote, right? It's not just swinging, a sword, right? It has functionality. It's touchpad, so you can do, game management things in it. You can't explain that really with Nintendo Land. Nintendo Land doesn't explain that. It shows you isometric. Is it isometric gameplay? Not isometric. Is that what is it called? I think it's isometric. I could be wrong. It shows you that aspect of it where one guy can see a certain view and then everybody else, like the Luigi's Ghost Mansion stuff or the Mario Chase stuff. Like, it's good at that, but it doesn't show you how cool the gamepad is. It doesn't show you like the Batman Arkham side of the gamepad. It doesn't show you like the Splinter Cell Blacklist or the Deus Ex Revolution type of stuff. The gamepad game. Nintendo needed to have a game like that made by them that said, this is what the gamepad is. This is how cool it is. And they never had that, So, Wii U to Switch was minimal jump. Yeah, it wasn't a huge jump. It was probably like GameCube to Wii. Not sure if it's due to lazy devs, but a lot of 360 ports run worse on Switch. Yeah, that's what happens. And I don't know if I want to just outright say they're lazy devs. It's just that it's different enough to where they don't want to put in the effort, and they're just like, whatever, So I guess that makes them lazy, but the architecture is a little different. It isn't really an example of that. TJ, oh yeah, specs matter to developers. Yeah, I think he's explaining it to you there. So I just think of these folks that like to taste of Mario's boot. When Wii U was Nintendo's baby, they loved and defended it. Yep. When Nintendo abandoned Wii U, those folks jumped ship too. Exactly. And Visor, I can always count on you to bring some reason and to say what I probably should have said, but I just don't think of it. And you're always there, Johnny, on the spot. A lot of these guys were Wii U defenders, and now because I wasn't defending Wii U because it was a Nintendo console, or only because it was a Nintendo. I think that's the difference. A lot of these guys were defending Wii U, and maybe some of them changed, midway through Wii U and said, no, I don't like this. Started dogging Wii U, but I wasn't defending it just because it was a Nintendo console, and so I defended it for its merits and what I felt was great about the console. And so that didn't change because it's a new year, so I'll still defend it for those things. And these guys have the gall, those guys who used to be Wii U defendos have the gall to turn around and say, like I'm something other now because they no longer defend the Wii U because they've abandoned it like Nintendo has. I'm like, you guys are the worst. Like you're way worse than what you think you're trying to call me. Because at least I had a position I stuck to back then that I stick to now, and I don't change with the wind just because Nintendo decides they want to resell me all the games I already bought for $60 just because Nintendo says it. Like that makes you worse, not me. But anyway, yeah, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go start dinner. A game running worse isn't an indication of the system's power. It's poorly optimized. Yeah, it's not the only indication. It's not the end all be all indication. It could be. Sometimes it's just about optimization. A lot of times it's about optimization. Ask Ubisoft when they put ports on PC. Obviously, PC can handle this stuff, but a lot of times it's poorly optimized. Wii U was unique at the time. Isn't okay. All right, so that's it, guys. I don't really have anything else to say. Like I said, I got to go to start dinner. I didn't plan to go on it this long. I plan on to go long, but not this long. But it doesn't matter. It's cool. I always look forward to the discussions with you guys. So yeah, I gained new motivation for this channel. I have like 15 ideas in the works for this channel. Only because my like I said, my direction's changing a little bit. It's still Nintendo, but I'm just gonna mostly stay away from current current topic stuff, and be the gamer that I am on the channel. So thank everybody for joining. Thank you Falcon Black again for the donation. That was really decent of you there. Red Gun says Nintendo Land was still a very cool tech demo either way. I bet Nintendo didn't expect Wii Sports to have the cultural impact it had. Probably not. Sometimes you have something, you make something like, oh, this is going to be awesome. You believe it, and it's not. But sometimes you believe that, and it is awesome. It is as awesome as you think it's going to be. So, yeah, you just never know sometimes. But, yeah, thank you guys all for joining. I appreciate it. And you'll see more content next week. And I hope you join for that as well. But yeah, that's it. Later. And let me scroll down to my prompt out of here. And peace.